need my phone, right? Oh wait, you got yours now. You need Wi-Fi? Oh wait.
Alright, Shalom.
That's it?
I'm start by saying all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh. Double honors to the apostles of GMS from Ruvo. And who taught us this truth. And salutations and blessings unto the hopeful elect. Alright, we're out here once again prophesying the downfall of the sinful kingdom. Alright, known as Babylon the Great, aka Egypt, aka Sodom, right, aka Nineveh, Assyria, right? All the amalgamation of all the kingdoms of the earth, man. This is the cesspool right here. This is the confusion, right? This is Babel, right? Shark, give me Daniel Lee.
Daniel Lee.
This is 2nd Ezra 16:1. It says, "Woe be unto thee, Babylon, and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children."
Yeah, sackcloth is representing mourning, right? So you're seeing the world suffering on a
Economic level?
yeah, on an economic global level.
Oh, global, yeah.
Yeah, you know. So you're seeing the deterioration of all these kingdoms, right? Because they're tied into what? Mainly the fiat currency.
That's right.
American dollar. Right, go ahead.
It says, "Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand."
Yeah, because your children are going to be drafted, right? You're going to have a draft. Right? You're going to have a calling. That's why you had that thing in World War II, draft dodgers, man. You had a lot of those people. A draft dodger was a person that, they got enlisted, but they ran. They left, man. They're not going to fight, right? But you're going to have forced situations where you're going to be, if you can't run, you're going to be caught.
It says, "A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it?" Well, I can keep going, but you want a Daniel? Yeah.
Daniel, A1.
Yeah, of course. Daniel what?
8 and 1, yeah. Just get into some history.
Yeah,
Your brother's supposed to be studying this, man. You're supposed to be getting this thing, and then getting the history and then mixing with the scriptures, right? Filtering everything through the scriptures, right?
Okay.
That's right.
Eight and 1. This is Daniel 8:1. "In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last."
Yeah, that's the Medo-Persian Empire.
That's right.
Right? Because that's why it's called the Medo-Persian, because the Medes came into power first, and then you had the Persians. That's why I said the one horn, you got higher at the last. Right? This is history, man. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It says, Slacky, I went up. "Then I lifted up my eyes, and I saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him."
Yeah, because when the kingdom comes into power, it takes over the predecessor, right? And then it conquers new lands. It goes further because it just got a bunch of what? Wealth,
Exactly.
right? It got
That's
a
right.
bunch of wealth. It got a bunch of free labor,
That's right.
spoiled basically, you know.
Technology.
So, yeah, you know. So that gives it means to go on and further conquer other kingdoms, right? Go ahead.
That's right. It's just like when they took over Germany, they got all the intelligence from Germans, right? It says, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great.
See, so that's just like Esau. Just like Esau. You know, Most High made him great.
Yep. And you can't touch him.
And that's it.
Yep.
Right? So all these different kingdoms, right? And what is it? Daniel 4:17. It says the Most High basically is in the kingdom of men, right? And basically controls these kingdoms, right?
That's
Roughly
right.
paraphrasing, right? And he wills what what he wants to be done. You know, what he wills is what shall be done, man.
Right.
You know, history plays out according to the Most High.
That's right.
You know, go ahead.
Verse 5, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west.
So who's the he-goat? For you brothers, who's the he-goat? Who came after the Persians?
The Medes.
Huh?
Was it the Medes?
No, after
Who came after the
Medes.
Persians?
So, okay, I don't know.
Who came after the Medes and Persians, man?
That's easy.
The Greeks.
When did they come into power after that the other team went out of power? You said that the Greeks came into power.
Yeah.
When specifically, what date did they come into power?
Around 330 BC, around that time. We can get it. Someone look it up.
The water.
Look up
When did the
Alexander's father and then Alexander.
yeah, the
Around that time,
Macedonians,
the
yeah.
Macedonians, right? It was around because the Persians was 400 BC.
What's it again?
Just look up Alexander. He was born 356 and died around 330, right? Around that time, right? Right up.
Yeah. And as
And Slaki, that shows you, it described him as a he-goat. So that shows you the Edomites, that's that spirit of them, that's why they push that goat shit.
that's right.
Everything is goat. The acronym, the damn goat itself, they'll have
And
the
the
goat.
and the Lord said He's gonna put the sheep on one
Yes,
side
con.
and the goat on
so
one
now
side.
you know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
The he-goat. And then also it said in First Maccabees, it says when he conquered, then wickedness or
Ex-
evils
multiplied.
on the earth. So that shows you Job 9:24. The earth is given to the end of the wicked. Right?
Yeah, verse 5.
Crazy.
And as I was considering, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river,
Yeah, that's Alexander. That's between the eyes, right? Go ahead.
and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stomped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hands. Verse 8, therefore,
That's the transitioning of the kingdom, right? From the Persians to the Greeks. Right?
yeah, that's right. Verse 8,
Which
therefore,
is a lot of detail. I just skipped over a lot of
yeah,
history.
exactly.
But it's a lot of history. You
Oh,
brothers
hell yeah.
can look
We
into
can
that.
go into that.
Romans, I agree. The Romans.
Yeah, the Romans. Verse 8, therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
So that's like in First Maccabees 1, the four horns, which is who? The successors of Alexander. There's four generals, right? Lysimachus, Cassander,
Ptolemy,
and Seleucus.
Seleucus.
Were they related to him in any family way, family bloodline way, or were they all just people he thought?
Yeah, they were related. Some of them were related. Again, you can go into that.
No, I
history.
understand.
See, brothers, you're supposed to know which kingdoms came after each other. That's simple history, man. After 5 years, you should know that. Right?
Fine. And it says, verse 9, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
Yeah, that's that devil, Antiochus, Epiphanes, right? See, because guess what? Alexander, he never touched the Holy Land. He never touched it. He actually, I believe he made them just tributaries.
Exactly.
But he didn't touch him because he's seen the high priest, and then he's seen the chariot of the Most High.
That's right.
That's in the history as well. All right? You got to go separately in the Josephus or other kind of texts, but you can find it.
That's right. And he allowed them to practice. Like,
Right.
so-called practice.
He didn't Hellenize them.
Exactly. He didn't Hellenize them.
That was that guy. This guy we're reading about, right?
Yeah, that's right. It says, verse 10, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stomped upon them.
Yeah, because he killed a lot of Israelites, man. He killed the stars, the top jakes, man. The stars. So he killed a lot of Israelites, man. He had a lot of blood on his hands.
This is verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Because that was the abomination that make it desolate. They just sacrifice pork. You know, they pop harlots, man. Right in the quarters.
Right in the temple.
Yeah, the Holy of Holies, right?
Yeah. They sacrificed swine's flesh in the temple.
Yeah, they made it the temple of Jupiter.
Yeah, come.
Right?
Yeah, verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. And
that's what Hanukkah's about. Right? You brothers that celebrate Hanukkah, that was the time period of the Maccabees, right? Where the Maccabees, who were Levites, they were fighting the Greeks. And they got strength from the Most High, and they retook the temple. And then they established that sacrifice again. You know, but setting up for the Lord's time period, that thing was already, Most High wasn't really dealing with it anyway. But that was a special thing that he still made with them. Because they're basically finished, man. So the Most High actually gave them spiritual power. You can read that in the first and second chapter. There's a lot of stories, man. It tells you that angels gave them swords. You know, angels came down. You know, there was battles where not one man died. And that's special, man.
Hell yeah.
Like in the ancient world, like, like you know, you'll just be out there, an arrow will just come at you, a spear, you know? So,
and that's why you have so many stories of men of renown today who they deified. You have a lot of deified men who were just Israelite men who the Most High blessed. This is verse 12. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced.
yeah, because remember, was that 2 Maccabees 6? It says you couldn't even profess to be a Jew.
No,
You couldn't even say you're an Israelite.
they were sewn back on their
Right.
foreskins,
Shit.
right? And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of the transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Verse 13, then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation?
Yeah, because it was pure hell, man. You know, you were caught tripping the Sabbath, you were hanged. You know, your babies were killed. You know, it was pure pure persecution. Right?
Yeah. And the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And it came to pass, when I, even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then, behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man, and I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at that time appointed, the end shall be.
Yeah, so that means basically the prophets, they didn't know the visions they received. One scripture, you know?
This is the book of our first Maccabees 1 verse 1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes, and he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. To screw that out.
Yeah, and they unified the Greeks because the Greeks were basically different states. Because before the Edomites ruled, you had a people called the Etruscans,
That's right.
which were Japheth.
That's right.
Look at their images; they're all dark skinned with dreadlocks,
That's right.
with braids.
That's right. And who really pushed them out of the land was really Jake. A lot of Jakes pushed the Etruscans out as well, right? You had the Lacedaemonians, right? You had the Dorians. You had the Dorians who were Israelites, right? That's where you get the line of Dan. A lot of Danites came through the Dorians, right? You also have who were the sea people, man? What were the sea people name? They were more, a lot of them were Hamites. The Phoenicians, the Phoenicians were there as well in that land, because that was a main port, right? That was a main port. It was a main trade place, man. And the Etruscans had a lot of knowledge too, man.
Verse 2 says, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted up, and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings, and kept tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, which are such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and put his kingdom among them while he was
In
alive.
history, but I think he had syphilis or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Sexual.
yeah, exactly. Con. Yeah,
Yeah. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule.
In that 12 years, it was just pure aggression, man.
yeah, and he died. I think he died at 33. I think he died at 33.
It says that
So he was a young man.
Yep. In his prime. Yeah.
Con.
verse 8, and his servants bare ruled everyone in his place, and after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Verse 10, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, son named Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king.
Yeah, Epiphanes was, Epiphanes means
Okay, con.
revelation. Revelation, right? But he also was known as Antiochus, I believe the madman, right? Because he was a dude, he was like a Biden, man. Biden Jr.
Sleepy Joe.
He was like his son because he would drink with the commoners, you know, he would go in the commoners and get drunk and revel, you know, and he's a damn king, man. You know? Yeah, that, you know, go ahead.
It says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so the sun after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus the son of Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year in the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days, he went to their heart Israel, a wicked man, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make covenant with the heathen.
Hey, let me get this real quick and then you can go on. This is Malachi 1 and 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness.
Yeah, basically meaning wherever these devils set up their border, you know, because they set up artificial borders. They'll draw it up in the charts.
About Job 9:24 says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the workers thereof. If not, where and who is he? So basically, you know, he's a concept of like how now when you see like all over the earth, there's a so-called white man. Okay, and like that's not okay, this man like you know entire systems, man. And then contract me, you know, make some friends and this man that's wicked, man. That's why the world is said that it's him. Everybody is suffering, everybody is, you know, is mourning because of this man. Okay?
So like that's why devils multiply on the planet Earth, right? Much something weak, so more devils, more wicked men took over the land.
Quick research. Michael 2 and 10.
May you bring up Micah 2 and 10 to go at your point?
Hold on 1 second. You want that Daniel? Okay.
Then hold this and let the brother come out.
What do you have?
He had Micah 2 and 10 to go at,
Bring it up quick, yeah.
all right, the water. To go at the brother's point, Gabarga's point. This is Micah 2 and 10. It says here, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. To go at your point, Ak, the water, call it.
From book of Maccabees chapter 1, verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people was so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Like I said, the licensing today, I don't know if you guys seen that thing on Sky Australia, where that Edom lady did a documentary on the Transformer people, and he was asking them about what a woman is. What is a woman? You know, and they're like, oh, we don't really know, and they're basically spewing complete, basically just upside down. And it goes in line with Isaiah 29, where it says they have turned it upside down. Is it scripture 29:16, I think? Right? So these devils, they flip reality, man. You know, the guy, and then hold on, and then he's talking about the professor. She said you can't call roosters, you can't gender assimilate them, you can't give them gender rules. The guy's like, what do you mean? And he said about how genders chickens are not male or female. We don't know what they are. Yeah. And he said, well, how do they bring out life? Like, how do you know? We know it's a female by reproduction, and basically they just flip everything around. It's a warped reality, man.
Right? It says actually have a term called a birthing parent, something like that.
Yeah. No, they took it out the school system now. So they're not saying mom and dad, they're saying birthing parent.
parent.
Yeah.
It says, verse 13, is that, then some the people were so forward with the elite that they went to the king who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Yeah, these Jakes, these two-thirds, man, I feel sorry for them, man. They're completely done.
Yeah, they're done.
You know, they're consumed in pan, basically. You know? They're consumed in it, man. You know? That's why it says in that show, you're not concerned with the ungodly and their punishment, man. You know? We're here to be ambassadors for Yahweh Hashem Yahshua.
That's right.
You know? We're here to bring out the truth for them to be a gazing stock, basically, to people.
Right.
It's for because we're not here to wake anybody up, actually. You know, the Most High, He's the one that.
So that whereupon the place of exercise of Jerusalem, according to the custom of the heathen, have made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and was sold to do mischief. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, and he might.
That was the point. Yeah, that was the point. So go back.
Oh, go back.
Finish up then, because there's a point I want to get on.
This is Daniel 8, verse 20. It says, the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media. It says, the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough goat
Which
is
is like in the Medes, they were Japheth.
Yep.
Persians
Right.
was Zelan.
That's
Used to
Elam.
bring that up.
Yep.
Right?
And the rough goat is the king of Persia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms.
That's why Alistair Crowley, I don't know, was it something off? They said they seen that demon, they drew him. That's why it's a goat. It's basically a goat that's an African.
No, it wasn't Alistair Crowley, it was the Church of Satan, I think. What's that guy's name? Is it Anton LaVey?
I forget who it was. But someone
I
seen
think it's
that,
Anton
that
LaVey.
image is someone,
That image, yeah.
they drew it, they sketched it,
Yeah.
and it's a goat, you know? And it just goes back into Matthew when you brought out lamb and
Verse 22, now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time, their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to fall, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policies also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
That was Antiochus, man. You know, he has policies, and that's the same devil today, man. When you look at that word technology, it goes back to craft,
Con.
right? And that's the serpent, man. That's the serpent's nature. You know? So he has policies today that you gotta sign, and he'll call it. He'll say it's a policy, here's our policy, this is our policies here. You know, he did the same thing back then. You can't eat, you gotta eat pork, man. Okay? You gotta show us that you're eating pork. You know? You can't keep the Sabbath. You don't have a Hebrew name. Right? You gotta take out those garments, right? Etc.
This book about Psalms 55 verse 21 says that the words of his mouth was smoother than butter. The words of his mouth was smoother than butter, but what was in his heart? His words was softer than oil, yet they were God's words.
Yeah. It says, and through his policies also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many.
Just like today, man, with democracy, you know, it sounds so so crazy. What does that mean by peace? Because it comes with gifts, man. It comes with gifts and goodies.
But look what's
loans.
going on over there in South Korea right now. They're doing a gay parade, and the only signs that you see is liberty and freedom. So it sounds great. It's just like, oh, this is a good movement. But that ain't a good movement. That's a movement of death.
That's right.
Right? It says, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. That was the point.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Shut up. It was in a parable, right? You have Edomite scholars that try to go into it, and they kind of get certain things, but they go off on a lot of things, man. Because it's not just literal history. It goes into spiritual things, right? Things pertaining to the spirit, which Esau is not a spiritual man at all.
Psalms 10 verse 8. It says, verse 6. It says that he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Verse 7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and his tongue is mischief and vanity. You see that the lurking places
Yeah,
of
so
the
why the hell do you know these scriptures, like General Yohanan, he knows the scriptures, and then when the thing came out, he said, just go ahead and take it. But the scriptures say his mouth is an open sepulchre. What he speaks is death, man. Well, you're gonna believe he has your health and your health in his best interest?
It says, seek the lurking places of the villages, the secret places that murder the innocent.
Yep.
His eyes are privately set against the poor.
Hey, privately, man. So their secret counsels and their their talks is how to keep Jakes down, man. How to keep you disbanded, right? Break their bands, as the scripture says, right? They know who the certain tribes are, The top elite know who the tribe, So they know what kind of games to play with, man.
Exactly. Shalom. Yabashim and Shabbat.
Verse 9. Lieth in wait secretly as a lion from his den, lieth in wait to catch a poor. Doth catch a poor when he draweth him into his net.
Come on, how was Mr.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm
Verse
doing
10.
well, man.
He croucheth
I'm glad you made
humbleth
it.
himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never perceive. This is
I got to back up for the brother, if I may. This is Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 14. These are the thoughts of Esau Edom, which is the so-called white man. They believe this. Isaiah 14:14. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So, all right. So that's why Esau Edom wants the way they do. Because when you look up the word thoughts, it means that's what they truly believe in their hearts. The way we believe in Yahushua will deliver us. Esau Edom believes their house will continue generation to generation, and that they will rule, and that they will surpass the Heavenly Father.
You're good, bro. You're good.
This is Obadiah verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Call him. You see how Bashim Shai is going to bring them to the ground.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, come on.
In the book of Revelation chapter 6 verse 1. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he went, and he that sat on him had a bow. The crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard a second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another.
Yep.
And there was given unto him a great sword.
Yeah, so Esau, he'll be the same one that tell you peace on earth, and he's the one covertly spreading
You know
the
this
madness.
one?
You know?
Number one on the mission. They really like to bring in destruction and decay.
Like NATO, they're the so-called peacekeepers. International, they're just the teeth, man. You know?
Come on, and verse 5 says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And the hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth.
Yeah, that's the time we're coming into.
It says, when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that was laid of the word of the Most High, and for the testimony of and for the testimony which they held, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, Habashmiashai, holy and true, dost thou not judge them and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?" And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. And I beheld, and when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she shaketh over a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together.
Yeah, that's the mushroom cloud. That's the missile.
Come on.
What Esau calls a mushroom cloud. What the book of Revelation, right? John described it as a mushroom cloud.
It says, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come.
Yeah, that's these secret bunkers that they have.
Come on.
All these different spaces that they have set up, whether it's underwater, you know, or in the mountains, right? Or in space. Right.
It says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Verse 7. Verse 1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power.
Yeah, that's why all those times where the war, it seemed like it was going to start, it didn't start because the elect were not gathered.
Come on.
And there were many times where it was very close, right? They were about to press a button, right, between the Soviet Union and America, right? There was a lot of close calls, man.
There was a submarine incident. What was there?
Submarine,
The
yeah.
most recent one?
Well, it was back in the Cold War too.
Khan Salaki and Tawada.
It was that time that when Russia went into Cuba,
Yeah.
the Cuban Missile Crisis. That was a huge one.
Tawada, Khan.
Yeah, because Miami's like 90 miles away.
Exactly. From Cuba.
Revelation 7 verse 2 says, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power with their foreheads.
And then, to be honest, the latest one is what's going on with Russia, right? Because NATO is too close to Russian borders, right? And with them trying to back Ukraine, that's a Cold War all over again. Dangerous times.
Yeah, verse 3, it's like verse 4, it says, verse 3 says, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which was sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And of the tribes of Judah was sealed 12,000. The tribes of Reuben was sealed 12,000. The tribes of Gad was sealed 12,000. And the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. And the tribe of Simeon was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Joseph was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. Much of things I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, kindred, and people, and tongues, before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed in white robes, and sound were given in their hands. And cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our power is seated upon the throne and to the Lamb. And all the angels stood around about the throne and about the elders and the 4 beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshipped the Most High, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our power forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
Verse 13, and one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes?
They're identified. They look like Moab, Edom, Ishmael, right?
Speaking different languages.
It says, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, Lord knows. And he said to me, these are they which came out of the great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore, they are.
These people were covered by the blood of Yahushua. I wouldn't say the other word. You know, because these Christians, they always want to push that. I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. You know, there's only a certain amount of people that are on this side. You know, Jake is covered fully, but you know, there's certain things that have to happen. Right? Certain stages of that, you know, that remarried.
Yahushua said that, when he was rebuking that woman at the well, he said like, you worship me, don't know what? For salvation to the Jews. So that's a cut right there.
That's right.
Keep going. It says, verse 15, therefore are they before the throne of power, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, or any heat. The Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and the Most High shall wipe away all tears from the eyes.
This is going to be heaven, man.
Calm.
Like paradise. Eden.
Calm.
And we're going to go into the stage of the blessings.
Calm. Calm.
Overflow, exactly. Overflow.
It's like the curse is overflowing.
Yeah, calm.
I got it.
13 and 12 is going into a large multitude that the brother was just talking about. That was sealed all the tribes. And afterward I saw the same man, which is Yahushua, come down from the mountain and called unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, other some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I was awake, and I said, Selected.
And just like certain people that get dreams and visions, they wake up traumatized, right? They wake up almost sick, you know, because of the things that they see, you know?
They actually went through the experience. They experienced it firsthand.
There was a movie I'm thinking about. It's a Issachar, he kept getting these dreams of the destruction. What was that movie? And then his wife said, "What's going on?